Okay, so today we are doing Icefall by Matthew J. Kirby. Pretty much winging this one, so sorry if it's a little, crazy. But, so basically the theme is this country is at war, and King sends his family, so his 3 kids and, different people to take care of them. So there's, a cook, there's, part of his, guard that goes with him as well, to a place in the mountains, and it's protected by a fort. So, fjord, sorry. So basically there's all these mountains around, and there's a fjord, and it's over the winter, so when the fjord ices up, then they're immune to attack from the sea. So that would put off attacks until the spring. So this story centers around Solveig. She is the second daughter of the king, and for those who don't know about the way heirs work, basically the first male heir gets everything. And as far as strategicness goes, as far as alliances, you want pretty daughters so that you can marry them off to men, so that they will be like, oh hey, you gave me your precious daughter, so here's some land, or here's an alliance, or whatever. So if any daughters he had, a king would have, would be very strategic. Well, Solveig, being the second daughter, and not being as pretty as her sister, and really not even pretty at all, is pretty much overlooked by her father. She's not important, she's not needed. Her younger brother will get the throne, her older sister will be married off to whoever for any alliances. So because of this, she's right about her father. She thinks that, he doesn't really care about her, and honestly, she's right. There was a time mentioned in the book where he forgot to introduce her to someone that was, an important person. So, and the important person had to mention it to him, oh, don't you have 3 kids and not just 2? So there's that, and so as it's been a couple months, well, a few weeks after they are put into this camp, and berserkers sent by her father come to help them out and just protect them more. So their berserkers are just super high class warriors, and there's this thing, it's like a war rage type thing, where when they're in battle, anyone and everyone is an enemy. They just cut them down to their only one that they're standing. So that's all I know about that. I guess to a certain extent they have to recognize their colleagues or else they'd all be dead. But it's typically, once it's started, it's very hard to stop. And especially for those who are not berserkers themselves or are fighting the berserkers, basically the only way, if you're the enemy of the berserker, to stop them is to kill them. That's it. Okay, so at this point, once the berserkers come at the camp we have the 3 children of the king. So that's Solveig, the second daughter, Asa, the first daughter, and Harold, the prince. We have Per and his group of warriors, fighters, soldiers, whatever you want to call them. We have Bera the cook, Roddy her son, and he's also an old friend of Solveig's, but they don't really talk anymore. We've got Ol, and he's basically a slave. He's technically a thrall, so it's a little bit different, but essentially it's a slave. And we've got the berserkers, and with the berserkers comes the king's skald. Hopefully to lighten the mood up a little bit, because it's in the middle of the war, they're cut off from everybody, they don't have anything to tell, hey, we're winning, we're losing, they have nothing. So they begin to suspect that a spy is in the camp. The cows get let loose from their enclosure, and there's a few other things that keep happening. Oh, Solveig found something, and there was somebody in the woods watching her. So we're not really sure who this is until later. So basically, the war's over, right? Messengers come, they're like, hey, the war's over, we can go back home. So they load up everything on to this ship, and at this point, people were poisoned, so there's not very many of them left, and a lot of them died, so they're loading the dead up on the ship. I think Solveig, Asa, Harold, the captain of the Berserkers, which his name is, I forgot what his name is. Give me a second, let me look it up. That's bothering me. Listen, I told you I wasn't prepared, and I wasn't lying. I just really need to get this done. It starts with an H. Is it like... Oh, Hake. Hake, that's what his name is. Okay, so basically it's just the three kids, Hake, Pear's left, Bursa's left, Roddy, Alric. I think that's about it. I don't think there's very many other people. The poison was delivered via goat. No. It wasn't the goat. Oh, honestly, I don't remember. Oh, and Ol's there too. Ol's still alive. And, basically what happens is, so they're packing up, and then they see this ship, different ship, and it's like a warship, and it's the king's enemy. His name is Gunlag, and so he comes, and since there's not very many people there, and many of them aren't warriors, they are overtaken, and Hank does his berserker thing, but he still can't make it, and so they're all captured except for Pear. And Hake was about to be killed because he was doing his berserker rage, his battle rage, I believe it's called. But Solveig was able to calm him down and like get him to stop before he was killed. So they're taken back to the camp, but now it's Gunlag in Gunlag's control. And Pear is nowhere to be found. Asa's like freaking out because, believe it or not, her and Pear actually like each other. So, you know, perfect, right? Because they're never going to end up together, ever. Okay, well, guess what? They do. Because they were traitors along with Ol, and kind of, I don't know if they know about Ol. It's been a couple of days since I finished this book. But, so they had told, the plan was that Asa would get married to Gunlag. And that would, the whole war was over. She didn't want to get married to him. But if he won the war, he would have her, and then he could give her to Pear, and then they could go off and do whatever. But, so that didn't exactly happen to plan. A few things messed up, but basically, at the end, they all get out, and Pear and Asa are still at the bottom of this mountain, while everyone else is trekking up top. Well, there's this huge glacier, and Solveig wants to collapse the glacier so that it would rush out, like all the water would rush out and flood the area and get rid of the attackers, and they'd just be able to go on their way. But Hake says no, he's about to do it. And Ulrich is like, no, I'll do it. This is like, I've done nothing, I haven't picked a side, and now's my time to pick a side, like, here's my chance. And because being a Skald, you don't have, like, typically you serve, like, you do your bard thing for, like, one king, but you're not aligned to him. You're not like, oh, well, he's, like, my king or whatever. He's just the person who's employing you. So they're very, like, free-willed. So he never picked a side because he's just a Skald. He doesn't need to. And he learned from Solveig, who picked a side, that he needs to pick a side. And this was he's older, and he's just like, alright, this is it. This is my chance to do something right for once in my life. So he breaks this glacier. Hake and all the others are off, and they're safe because they're on higher ground, and this complete torrent of water just rushes through the camp. And so they come down, and they're looking at the aftermath, and all of Gunlock's men, all of them are dead or dying. But they can't find Asa and Pear or the remains or anything. But then they notice that one of the ships is gone. So they presume that as the water was going, it kind of like spread out because it was a wider spot. So if they were in a certain spot, they would have survived anyways. So since they survived and all the goods were already packed up on that one ship, they probably left. And so they're off together, their happy married life. But yeah, that was, honestly, I skipped over a lot of important things. So if you want to go back and read it, go back and read it. But I'm just really proud of Solveig, honestly. Because, like, at the beginning of the book, she was very, like, no one wants me, I'm not needed. Just typical, like, typical introverted behavior, okay? Well, Alric is like, hey, I really think you could be a good skald. Just let me teach you. And it takes her a while for her to, like, convince herself, and a few other people help. But, it's just really sweet, because she's trying to learn how to do this, and she keeps making mistakes. But then one day, it just, like, it finally clicks. Like, she gets it. And then she's able to, like, do it in front of Gunlag. Like, she tells a story in front of Gunlag, and she picks the stories based on other people's emotions, like, perfectly. Like, it may not have been whatever her and Alric planned that day, but she's like, hey, these guys need something about this. They need something to lift their spirits. They need something to show them glory. They need a terrible tale about this wolf who we killed or something. Like, that was the one to Gunlag, by the way. And a lot of them are based on Norse mythology, and because that was the time period of this book. I believe there were Vikings of some sort, or similar to Vikings around that same time period. But yeah, it was just really sweet, and I liked it a lot. And towards the end of the book, she's just like, this is my territory. She was able to tell a story to her father. He was so proud of her, and I'm just super proud. And oh my gosh, Hake. Her and Hake had this special relationship. I'm not entirely sure what made it, but I feel like he sees her as a daughter, and he can't have children because he's constantly at war, but like, now he's thinking about maybe like, hey, your father would be pleased if like I could go with you and protect you while you're like traveling and doing, you know, learning different stories and like telling stories and stuff to all the different kingdoms. So I just thought that was really sweet. I thought it was a good book. I read it pretty fast. It's a pretty fast read. It was really good. It was well thought out. There was character development. There was some twists and turns that you weren't quite expecting. For like half the book, you were like, who's the traitor? Who's the traitor? Who's the spy? And then you're like, oh wait, that's them. But then wait, is it also him? And yeah, it was just very confusing because all also betrayed them at some point. And I'm pretty sure that Per and Asa didn't know about it, even though they were traitors as well. So yeah, it was very interesting, and I'd have to reread it to like fully like put all the pieces together. But yeah, it was good. So hopefully I will update again soon. I'm sorry this took forever. I've been super busy, and we started reading Great Expectations, and that book is very dry. Has good plot, but it's very dry. Yeah, so I'm about to finish this other book, and I should be able to do a video this weekend, so I will keep you posted on that, and you know where to look for more videos. So bye!